let's go ahead and move on to another guy drafted in the third round. He was the 12th pick of the third round out of Vanderbilt, Ke'shawn Vaughn to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this one is interesting. I've seen a lot of love for Vaughn in redraft. Tampa Bay, they lost Peyton Barber out of that backfield. Ronald Jones and Dare Agumbawale are really the last men standing there. Steph, do you think Vaughn is going to have some fantasy impact in 2020?
Vaughn in 2020 to me is the epitome of a rookie boom bust. He could be the wide receiver, he could be the running back one in a high-powered offense, or he could be a third down back that never sees the end zone. So, to me, the appeal for Vaughn probably isn't going to be his volume. It's probably going to be the passing game appeal. We all know Tom Brady is the check down Charlie King himself. So maybe there's some passing game work. I know you mentioned Agumbawale. He's kind of their third down back last season. I could see Vaughn just taking over that role completely. One interesting stat here I found from actually FanDuel's website is they said there have been 11 instances of a New England Patriots running back catching 30-plus passes in a season over the last 10 years. Including 8 with 40-plus and 5 with 50-plus. So you got to think
11 running backs in the last 10 years. Not a big math guy, but that's
yes.
Wow.
So Brady, we all know the kind of player Brady is. We have 20 years of sample size, and we know he's going to take what the defense gives him. So I could see Vaughn being like a James White type of guy that's really valuable in PPR. But I don't know. This is a really tough one for me. I will be keeping my ears to that Buccaneers news reports to see really where he is. I think his absolute ceiling for me is 150 carries. We'll see. How do you think this impacts Ronald Jones? That's really where I'm torn because I was very high on Jones.
It's tough. We've both been pretty bullish on Ronald Jones, and round one goes by, round two goes by, we're getting into round three, and I'm like, oh boy, the Bucs still haven't taken a running back. Every single pick that goes by, Ronald Jones' stock is going up, and then right at the 11th hour, they come in and pick Vaughn, and I'm just like, dang, here we go. So I still think Ronald Jones is going to be fine. Certainly some of that upside I thought was there because of that receiving work that was going to come with Brady is going to be gone, but a similar situation to Detroit should happen in Tampa Bay in the sense that Detroit historically has used several different backs, maybe even 3 or 4. Tampa Bay last season used Barber, Ronald Jones, and Dare Agumbawale, and I think they actually, just like Detroit, we expect them to consolidate that down to 2 guys to carry on and DeAndre Swift. I think Tampa Bay consolidates that Dare Agumbawale work. Maybe he just does special teams, and I think it's going to be the Rojo and the Vaughn show. An interesting note on Vaughn, too. I read that he, in one of his scouting reports, actually by ESPN, is that he's a really good pass protector. And when you think about who's the quarterback there in Tampa Bay, they're going to want someone at the running back spot who can protect the passer. So maybe that earns him snaps early on. I remember a game last season where Ronald Jones was actually playing great, and he missed protection pickup and got benched for the rest of the game. So Bruce Arians isn't messing around, and if he was that concerned about Jameis Winston, he's going to be hella concerned about Tom Brady in that backfield. So I think Vaughn and Rojo are just going to split it. Vaughn is going to be that receiving back. Rojo should get most of the goal line work and should get most of the carries. But I have them both right there. Low-end RB2, high-end RB3. Both have upside if something happens to the other. And the question I'm going to put back on you, Steph, half PPR 2020. Right now, who do you think scores more points, Ronald Jones or Ke'Shawn Vaughn?
I'm taking the known in Jones there, just because we saw him really improve as the season went on last year. For me, Vaughn could go one of 2 ways, and they're both strong on both sides. He could be the next Dante Foreman or Royce Freeman that just kind of becomes irrelevant in a few years, or he's the next Joe Mixon. There's 2 ends of the spectrum for me because he does have the skill set to really do it all. He's pretty well rounded. So
yeah, absolutely, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, just like a lot of these backfields. And if we decided to do this same show closer to the football season, I'm sure a lot of our takes will be a little bit different. I'm sure through camp, we'll hear a lot from beat reporters on what's going on, what are the coaches saying, how are guys picking things up, how are they learning the offense, things like that. So certainly there will be more to come on all of these rookies. But Steph, a couple last guys